Moving towards the next part of biostatistics, that is the measures of dispersion. Now yesterday we have seen in the last video, we have seen the measures for the central tendency. So central tendency, it describes the data in a single typical value. So now we have seen there are like three measures in which we have seen mean, median and mode. Over there you have seen you get that single typical value. For example, if you are taking any scenario, so you got the mean as 50. For example, you got the mean as 50. So now in this, you get this typical single value. That means your central tendency. So it does not give the information about the entire data. Now for example, suppose there are 100 patients and the average height is, so we are seeing this the scenario in which there are 100 patients and the average height of them is 5 inches, for example. So this is a single unit, that is your central tendency. So now, does that mean like every patient amongst this 100 patients they are of 5 inches? And obviously this is not possible. So it would be like some patients they would be taller or some patients they would be shorter. So this is nothing but your dispersion. So this dispersion, it tells about how the individual value they are spread or they are dispersed around the central tendency. So how the values they are spread around this central tendency is nothing but the measures of dispersion. So measures of dispersion, they helps to know how widely the observations they are spread on the either side of the average. So how they are spread on the either side of the average is nothing but your dispersion. So dispersion is the degree of the spread or the variation of the variable about a central value. The most common measures of dispersion which are used are range, then mean deviation and standard deviation. So now range, as the name says, so there's a range which is present. So it is the simplest method which is defined as it is the difference between the value of the largest item and the value of the smallest item. So this measure, it gives no information about the values that lie between the extreme values. About the weight of a population. So it would be like if there are 50 people. So we are doing a study. So in range, you're giving a range like 50 to 60 kilograms. So this is nothing but the range of it. So this is like people, this 50 people, they can be amongst this range. That can be, some can be 50 kgs, some can be 51 kgs, some can be 52 kgs. Like this, you will get the range about it. So this is nothing but the range. Now though this measure is simple to calculate, it is not based on all the items and it is subject to fluctuations of the considerable magnitude from sample to sample. So this is like the simplest method, but usually it is not used because it gives no information about the values that lies between the extreme values. So now you have seen, you have like considered about this extreme values, that is your 50 and 60. So this is your highest value and this is the lowest value. So these are your extreme values. But in this, now you don't know amongst this 50 people, how many are of the weight 51 or how many are of the weight 52, 53 kgs. So because of this, it is not that much which is used. So mean deviation, it is nothing but it is the average of the deviation from the arithmetic mean. So now the name as it says, it is mean deviation. So mean deviation is nothing but the average of the deviation from the arithmetic mean. So mean, you have seen it was already average, but mean deviation is now you're taking the average of that arithmetic mean. So there's the formula for this mean deviation, that is sum of x minus xi upon n. So this is nothing but your mean deviation. So this is nothing but sigma. Sigma is nothing but the sum of. Now x is the arithmetic mean. So if now we are seeing an observation, if you are doing some studies, so after that whatever the calculations or whatever the observations are, so for example if you are doing the studies on 10 patients for the number of decayed teeth, so you have got the results. So after that what you're going to do is first you're going to remove that mean. So first you're going to calculate or you're going to see what the arithmetic mean is. Minus, it is xi. Xi is nothing but the value of each observation in the data. Now for example, the first patient, so N1, so this is the first patient. He has number of decayed caries as 4. N2 has 3. N3, they have 5. So like this, you're going to calculate till N10. So after that, you're going to calculate the mean. But now this xi is, for example, now you got the mean as 50. So what you're going to do is 50 minus 4, whatever it is, that is your 46. So your xi for n1 is 46. Like that you're going to calculate for all the digits, and then you're going to do the sum of it upon the number of observation, that is how many patients you're doing that study on. So that is nothing but your mean deviation. But now this mean deviation, it has a major drawback. So to overcome the problem of this mean deviation, we are using the most commonly and the most, like, it is the best measure of dispersion, that is nothing but your standard deviation. Standard deviation, it is the most important and the widely used measure to study the dispersion. It is also known as root mean square deviation, because it is the square root of the mean of the square deviation from the arithmetic mean. Now this standard deviation, it has this formula of square root of sum of x minus xi, and it is squared upon n. Now you have seen for mean deviation you were having the same formula, but over there this square and the square root wasn't there. So this is the formula that we use to overcome the problem that we get in the mean deviation. Now what that problem is, now I'm going to explain that with the help of an example. So now suppose there are 50 students and the average weight of this 50 students is 60 kg. So that means your mean, that is your x over here, is 60 kg, right? Then what you're going to do is, then you're going to make this list of all the 50 students. So that means your n1, n2, n3, n4. Like this you're going to you're going to write till n50. Then you're going to see the weight of individual student. So for example, now n1, he is of 62 kgs, n2 is 60 kg, n3 is 52 kg, then n50 for example, then n4 he can be of 48 kgs, n50 he can be of 72 kgs. So these are like the various weight that you're going to write for all the 50 students. Now this is the list that you have made. Now you have got this value for your x. So now you know, according to this formula, you have this x. Now x minus xi. So xi is, as I said, for the mean. So what you're going to do is x minus xi for your n1. Like that you're going to do for every student till the 50th student. So for example, now we're going to see for this n1, n2, n3, n4. So your x, that is your mean, is 60 kg. And n1 is 62 kg. So the calculation is minus 2. The next is 60 kg. So your x minus x1 for your n2 is 60 minus 60, that is your 0. Now over here this is 52 kgs. So for 52 kgs, now 60 minus 52 is equal to plus 8. For n4 it is 48. So 60 minus 48, it is plus 12, right? So like that, so you will see the deviation of the individual value from the mean. So you have calculated now the values of this. So now you have calculated this and this thing. So after that, what you're going to do is, now you're going to sum it up. So plus 8, so over here it was minus 2. So this sigma is nothing but you're summing it up. So minus 2 plus 0 plus 8 plus 12. So now in this 50 you will also find there are plus 2, or there can be minus 8, there can be minus 12, like the weight values. So what happens in this is, now you're going to cancel this plus and minus. This you're going to cancel, then you're going to cancel this. And finally the sigma that you get is 0. Minus xi is coming as 0. But it's not obviously not possible, because it's not like every student. So now you have got the mean. So you have seen the mean was 60 kg. And if your standard deviation, that means if your measure of dispersion, the dispersion is 0, that means every student, like every student in that 50 group of students, they have the weight of 60 kg. And that is like practically not even possible. So this is the main problem that you see with the mean deviation. That is the mean deviation, it comes as 0. And to overcome this, we are squaring it. So this is the formula that we use. So now you have seen, we have calculated this part. But now this part, it is squared, right? So what you do is, now over here you have seen, so it was minus 2. So what you do is, now you're going to square each and every this unit. which you have got after minusing the mean minus the individual value. So over here we have seen it is minus 2, but minus 2 squared it is 4, minus minus it gets cancelled, so it is 4. Now it is plus 8, so plus 8 squared, so it comes as 64. So like this you're going to calculate. So over here now what you're going to do is, now you're going to square all this individual units and then you're going to calculate it. So this becomes, so for example, now you got this value as 500. So now you have seen, now you got this value. So over here now the next thing is you're going to divide it with the denominator. So denominator is now the number of the observation. So over here your observations is 50 students got this value, that is 500. So it was 500. So your numerator it was 500 and now denominator is 50. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide it. So now your SD is equal to square root of 10. So now the 10, so square root of 10 would be something. So it would be something. So that means this is your standard deviation. Now you would be thinking why we are doing such ridiculous work. First we are squaring the things up, then again we are doing the square root of that same thing. In aim of doing this all things, that is squaring and then doing the square root, is to overcome that problem that we were getting, which is the sum of as 0. So to overcome this, we are doing all those things, that first we are squaring it up and then now the squaring, as we have squared it up. So your standard deviation, it cannot be like so dispersed. So because of that now we have squared it up. So to get that perfect standard deviation, we are doing the square root of it. And the last point for this standard deviation is, now you have seen you are dividing it with this n, but now if the number of observation they are less than 30, so if your n is less than 30, you are doing the study on a group which is less than 30, so the denominator that you're going to use is n minus 1 and you're not going to use n. In that case you are going to use n minus 1. So this is the main thing that you need to remember. So if the observations they are less than 30, so the formula for it will be square root of sum of x minus xi square upon n minus 1. But it is only if they are less than 30. If the observation is less than 30, if the observation is for a group which is less than 30 people, so in that case you are using n minus 1 as a denominator. So this is all about that you should know for standard deviation. So for example, now you got the standard deviation as 5. So if the square root it was 25, if the value we got was 25, so after that you get the square root as, so you get the standard deviation as 5. So the standard deviation is 5 kg. Now we have seen the mean it was 60 kg and your standard deviation is 5 kg. So it means that the individual value they lie in a range between 55 kg to 65 kg, and this is how much that they are dispersed around the central tendency. So your central tendency it was 60. So now we have got the standard deviation, the amount that the value that they are dispersed at is 5. So it can be 65 on one side and it is 55 on the other side, because we are seeing this deviation on either side of your central tendency, as we have seen in the measures of dispersion. So the measure of dispersion it was around your central tendency. So it can be on one side and it can be on the other side. So on one side obviously the value it is lower and on the other side the value is higher. So this means the range between the 65 and the 55 kg, that is how much the people they are dispersed around that central value. So this is all about your standard deviation. So greater the standard deviation, greater will be the magnitude. Now we have seen the standard deviation it was 5 kg, but we got the standard deviation as, for example, 20 kg. So the magnitude will also be greater. So in this case, like when the standard deviation is 20, so it would be like 80 over here on one side and it would be 40 on the other side. So you can see how great the magnitudes are. So greater the standard deviation, greater will be the magnitude of dispersion from the mean. And a small standard deviation means a higher degree of uniformity of the observation. So if your dispersion, if your standard deviation is small, so that means there is a higher degree of uniformity of the observation. So this is all about your measures of dispersion, that are your range. Mean deviation, they have the problem that the answer you get as is 0. So to overcome this, we are using this standard deviation in which we are squaring it up, and after that we are doing the square root of it. So this is all about all the three measures. Now depending upon the standard deviation, you have this normal curve or the normal distribution, which is also known as Gaussian distribution. I'm going to cover in the next video.